St. John, painted by Guido Rini.
Who's St. John?
You're asking the wrong person. All of the historical stuff, the last time I looked at any of that was probably in like when I was like 10.
I know, I'm asking you to look it up so that we don't look like idiots.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, God, St. John's the guy who does the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. None of that really...
Can I level up? Can I, like... Okay, I can't.
Oh, he's one of the apostles.
St. John.
The New Testament.
It's John the Apostle.
Oh my god, I don't want to read the entire New Testament.
Whoa, no.
Oh my god. Oh wait, we're probably like, someone's gonna say, look at this and this, and then we don't have to read the entire Bible. Look at this. There's so... Okay, analyze the book.
This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord. A volume of the Gutenberg Bible. This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord.
Referred to when calling upon the Lord? When was that? I don't remember what that hint was. Is there like...
I don't know.
The drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Rini. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
Maybe these paintings are his...
They're the apostles.
Yeah, and we were just looking at the Bible and I assume...
If any of the hints in this game have to do with Bible stuff...
Several portraits of
We're
apostles,
fucked.
Yep.
all signed by Guido Rini.
Guido
It looks
Rini.
like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Someone touched it recently. Okay.
Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the apostles by Guido Rini.
Okay, so it's all by Guido Rini.
I think the key part is that it's the apostles.
Okay.
St. Paul painted by Guido Rini.
He's not an evangelist?
Of the
Evangelist?
four apostles shown in this piece, Paul is the only one who isn't an evangelist. He is the 13th apostle.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
He's holding a
St. Paul is
sword.
shown holding a sword.
Ah.
Strange.
That's
There's
the
hardly
Bible.
any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned
What?
recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice.
That's the Bible verse we
Now,
want.
what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
All right, let's go check out the Bible.
It's 11, passage 11. And what was that guy's name?
Paul.
And something to do with pilgrims. So let's look at the Bible.
Epistle, that one.
Gospel Acts of the Apostle?
No, I would go the Epistles of Paul.
This one?
Nope. This one right here. This is Paul.
Well, this
Oh,
is one
it's
of
one
two.
at one of two and two. Go back.
Fuck.
Here, just start looking around. I'm
Okay.
gonna do some googling and see.
Chapter 1, verse 1? Do you think that would make sense?
Paul and Silvanus and Timotheus unto the church of the Thessalonians, which is in God the Father and in the Lord Jesus Christ. Grace be unto you and peace from
So
God our Father
11:2 was
and
the
Lord
Corinthians.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe.
Okay. The Corinthians.
Corinthians 11:2.
Apostle to the Corinthians. Or the Corinthians 2.
I don't fucking know. These are all just like guesses based on.
I don't know the Bible.
Do they
Chapter 3, verse 11. Chapter 11, verse 11.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
A note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here.
Oh, thank
What
God.
does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package.
It did.
Know where and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply. Hidden behind the youngest apostle.
The youngest
What?
apostle.
The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
The newest apostle, maybe?
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni.
John is the Apostle John was the youngest brother. He's believed to have been the last apostle to die.
Maybe the first to die? Look at the frame.
There's nothing worth noticing here.
I mean, we can just look at them, you know? Huh.
There are finger marks. Deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years. No, nothing of value here.
Is it John? I think.
Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Damn it! Let's see if we can... Oh, you can't see it. You have to, like, imagine it. So you can't cheat.
So, which one of these guys was John?
I think this is it. John, right here. He doesn't have a beard.
St. John is the only apostle painted in this
Oh,
gallery
the
who hasn't been.
youngest.
Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer.
Can you imagine growing up with a mother like that, where you're like, Mom, do you know where the broom is? And
Well-
she's like, it's underneath the seventh eye of the clock of apostles. And you're like,
Well,
Mom,
she didn't write these notes for him.
No, I'm making it like...
Oh.
Like, if she's trying to train your son, you're trying to train your son, like...
I think that'd be super cool. They belong to a secret society together. Like, that sounds awesome.
But can you imagine just doing that all the time? You're like, Mom, do you know where the broom is? I accidentally dropped something. She's like, it's underneath the seventh eye of the apostle. Look it up in the Bible, and then uncode the cipher, and then you can figure it out. And you're like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me where it is.
It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni.
Scrutinize the frame.
The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. But wasn't my mother said that she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle? Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean?
So, what is it? 1 to the left, 3 to the right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a...
Here, click think about the code and maybe he can... Oh, like a...
It's like a turny lock.
Yeah.
Code. You know what I'm saying.
One to the left, 3 to the right.
Yeah.
They should add a companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their ranks. I imagine it applies to their code, the one Mother set up with the pilgrims. What's this?
Oh!
A group of pilgrims who Paul was
12,
talking to.
14.
And now John is telling them prophecies?
12,
What?
14. Add 1 to the
Oh.
left and 3 to the right.
Yeah.
So we should go over here.
20 minutes later.
And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and a half a time, from the face of the serpent. Hey, a new note. It's been folded carefully in the corner of this page. The writing, it's not my mother's. S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note.
So we were right the first time. We just couldn't find the
God,
number.
that's like, so we were right all along. We're just
Fucking morons.
yeah.
But you know what I like about this is that it
we're-
doesn't hold your hand, but we were still able to figure it out. We didn't need a walkthrough or anything.
Well, and you know what I like about it is that like we're able to figure this out not actually knowing Bible verses, because when I saw all of that, I was initially really afraid that they were going to expect you to actually like know something about the Bible.
But they just were asking like, "Hey, know how numbers work?"
Do you know how numbers work? Okay. He who hears the
Waiting your instructions, I'll hear your reply like he who hears the angels. Which one hears the angels, Stacy?
yeah.
So someone wrote the number 4 in the
When you look up, like, apostle that heard angels, it's just, like, a whole bunch of nonsense that comes up about, like, people who actually say they hear angels and stuff. So,
Stop ruining my Google results.
there's, like, angels that come to help Peter and Paul.
There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust.
John hears angels.
8 in all.
4, 8.
Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Well,
So there's the number 4 is written in dust on the other one. Who's the 4th apostle?
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni.
do they have numbers
Looks like
assigned to
someone
them?
touched this
No.
grave recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Who's the 4th apostle? 4th apostle.
It just brings
Oh, this
up-
one's talking to an angel in this painting.
Oh, yeah.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord,
Huh.
transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
So I've been listening to a lot of cult podcasts lately to keep my mind occupied. So this is all
As
like,
one does.
As
Yeah.
one does.
Just to keep up on the latest cult news.
Yeah, well, but like they all involve some sort of like somebody believed they were being spoken to by angels or like hearing the word of God and like all this stuff. And so like, I don't know, it's just very interesting how like even these like cult religions, like a lot of them still end up falling back on the Bible, like established text to kind of like lend validity to their
Guarantee
stuff.
100% of male-led cults always ends up, I need to have sex with all the women. Always.
Yeah, there was actually one of them though that where the guy almost like it was the Heaven's Gate cult where like one of the big things was that you were actually supposed to be celibate. So he was mostly celibate, and actually at one point I forget what the guy's name is, the guy that was like partly the leader of the cult.
Yeah, but he was worshiping aliens, so it's like, you know.
Well, yeah, like but aliens as the higher power.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you don't follow the Bible, suddenly you're free of raping all the women.
Yeah, but he actually they ended up castrating some of the people in the cult because they were supposed to live lives free of sin and all that stuff.
Was it voluntary or involuntary?
Voluntary. Because they didn't want themselves to be tempted, so they castrated themselves.
I remember reading an article about this guy.
The leader guy didn't do that. He chickened out after he saw somebody else do it, and then almost died. And because they were doing it in like a back alley place, and they were like, okay, like this is what we're gonna do. It's gonna be great. Like we're gonna castrate ourselves. They do it to one guy, and then he ends up like almost bleeding out and like having like a huge infection and all this stuff, and everyone else is like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that.
Maybe you guys should have had, like, somebody who knew what they were doing.
Well, they did. They had, like, meaning,
Yeah, right.
like, they went to, like, a vet. And, like...
Whatever.
Yeah. Which, obviously, vets are, very skilled practitioners like, for pets. But, like...
I read an article about this guy, and my interpretation like, I read this article years and years ago. My interpretation is that he was an asexual person before that was a word that people understood.
Yeah.
And it was probably a word that he didn't know either. Mm-hmm. But he was like, ever since I started having sexual feelings, I felt violated by them because he didn't want to do it. Does that make sense? Like, he had no interest in the sexual feelings, but, like, they would happen, and he just, like, was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And
so he got himself castrated by, like, a piercer or whatever.
Yeah, to just be
don't do this, okay? Like, don't.
Well, because he just didn't want to deal with it anymore?
He just didn't want to deal with the feelings that he didn't want.
Yeah.
And he's still, like, he has a girlfriend that, like, he pleases and stuff, but he was like, yeah, I remember, like, I saw the lead singer of Korn need a lip piercing. I thought to myself what it would be like to be castrated. So he'd been thinking about it for years and years and years. And people were like, God, we're like an idiot, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but at the time I was like, man, if he wants to do it, he can do it. And now I think that we understand what asexuality is more. Maybe he had something on that spectrum.
Maybe.
Because I know
to
that
me, like, if somebody wants to castrate themselves, that speaks to me more of, like, did he come from a religious background? Because that speaks to me more of, like, a guilt and, like, shame about sexual feelings.
He wasn't, like, ashamed of it. He just didn't want it. Because he didn't feel like he was, like, he didn't mentally want it.
Yeah.
He didn't come from, like, a religious or anything. He just was like, I don't want it. Like,
yeah.
Because from my understanding, there are ace people who have the drive but don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't have the mental desire. You know how, like, there's a difference between, like, your physical response and your mental response?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Live your life, people.
There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth.
Oh, Corinthians 1.
What the hell does that mean?
Corinthians 1, idiot!
Well, yeah, but, like, what part of Corinthians 1?
4? Because it says 4 underneath the thing.
Maybe. Yeah, let's go look and see what numbers are under there.
6.5 hours later.
10 verse 8, maybe?
Why?
You have 10
and he became
fingers.
Very hungry and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here.
I have no idea.
10
A
fingers,
message from
8
Mother
marks.
In reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that?
I have a question. So where'd you get the fingers from?
You have 10 fingers, but there were only 8 marks in the dust. 10-8. He said
I believe you. I'm just trying to understand where it came from.
He said that there were 8. He didn't say that there were 8 marks. He said that there's 8 finger marks. Of the 10 fingers that you have, there were 8 marks in the dust.
Like somebody, like, did this?
Yeah, like somebody did this with, like, 8 fingers and left 2 of them off. So of the 10 fingers, there's 8 marks. So verse 10-8.
For some reason, I kept thinking that the finger marks were the same as the Hebrew marks.
Oh.
Okay. What does he mean by that?
Probably allegorical.
I'm guessing it's a metaphor. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
I had a lot of fun with that. I know that maybe you felt a little frustrated, but I felt like it was a challenging puzzle that wasn't so challenging that it was like, didn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, okay. We didn't look into the message.
I'm an idiot.
So yeah, maybe let's do some of the stuff that we don't have. I don't know. Like, there's maybe politics and conviction.
Wait.
What?
I wanna...
We don't have any stuff for our actual areas, so, which would be psychology and logic. Talent unlocked. Sober.
This time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon.
Okay. Is there a way to, like, look at our stuff and, like...
Here, go back. Yeah, so we were supposed to do that before we left the room, I think.
I didn't realize. Oh, wait, it was a choice between...
Join them on time or look
You
into
are
the message.
expected in the small salon, sir.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. To go downstairs, maybe?
Well, the map should show you, right?
Yeah.
So it's downstairs. Right there.
I know, I want to look at this. It's here?
Monsieur Johann van Volner.
Wait. Oh.
Wait, we can't go down. Maybe that's the wrong stairs.
I have to go down the correct stairs.
Those are just up.
There's Poseidon or whoever again.
Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis?
I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
It must have been Emma I saw in my vision. I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay. They kept up a secret correspondence, which makes me think they were suspicious of someone.
Hopefully it's not
Did
her.
you find out who it was?
No, but von Volner is mentioned. They were planning to make a quick getaway and were looking to hide something beforehand.
Have you got these messages?
We can't even say no.
We should have done literally one difficulty for diversion. And we
I
could
know.
have...
Yes. Go ahead, take a look.
Oh boy.
I see. I must say, thanks for your honesty, Louis.
Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just...
Emily,
Fuck it.
there's something else.
Go on then.
It's about your sister. I don't know what happened exactly, but it's possible that my mother had a go at her.
I know, Louis. I found out that same evening. Well, thanks for not trying to hide it.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know if I could trust you. Now I know I can. It seems that your mother tricked Emma. She apparently asked her to hide an important book, so that even she wouldn't know where it was. And then she shot her like a dog to make sure no one would ever find it again.
Why would she do that?
I don't know, Louis, but I'll find out. You can count on that.
I'm sincerely sorry, Emily.
Thank you, Louis. But you do realize your mother will have to accept the consequences of her acts.
There must be an explanation, Emily.
That's what we shall see. Come, Louis. They're waiting for us.
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Come now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
And who is this charming character?
Manuel Godoy, the Duke of La Alcudia.
He's the head of the Spanish government, Monsieur de Richet. He's the one who, in practice, controls Spain.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined. What? The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchs
smiling.
are in danger. I have said it before. How dare they?
Oh dear.
Oh, as if...
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous. Bastard. He was sentenced to death by 361 votes to 360. You beheaded a king for one vote. Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please. Let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, Duchess, we're all among people of reputable company here. We should be able to manage the conflicts of our nations in a respectful and orderly manner.
I fully agree with you, sir.
But
That's enough, sir.
with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
Louis Maras de Richet.
Are you related to Sarah de Richet?
Sarah is his mother, Duke. Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us
I think
by
this
surprise.
guy is a time traveler.
Let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured. The response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
I have a theory.
Yep.
This guy, the time traveler, which explains why he has investment deeds that went out so well for him. And he's also able to predict before Napoleon or anyone who's going to be powerful. And he also
Could
has...
you spare a moment, please, sir?
I'm glad you asked. I want to talk to you too. Of course.
Shit!
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
Hear you speak, it sounds like you and my mother were close.
Let's say I hold your mother in high esteem, yes. We were even planning to work together.
That's what he was getting at.
Did she tell you about our arrangement?
The cat's out of the bag now. More or less, but please do refresh my memory.
Yes, of course. Nothing of great importance in itself. During one of our discussions, she spoke of an old book which might have been of interest to me.
Oh.
And she had agreed to let me have it.
A book about what?
Ancient occultism. As you are aware, I am a doctor of theology. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
The least one can say is that he doesn't beat around the bush. Sarah never travels without a few books. What does the one you're looking for look like exactly?
It resembles a grimoire.
Ooh.
It's divided into 7 parts, each one individually locked. It was made in such a way that if someone tried to tamper with it, the sheets would be permanently tarnished. It's a unique copy. There's only one.
The mere mention of it makes his face light up. Well, I'll take a closer look, but I can't promise you anything. You seem very upset. Is it so important to you, this book?
Well, it's the search of a lifetime. What can I say? Every time I move closer to it, it seems to slip away at the last minute. I was very surprised to learn that your mother had it in her possession. I thought it was with a certain von Borchardt in Paris. Do you know him?
I've never heard of him. I'm sorry. I haven't been much help to you.
Well, too bad.
I hope I've been able to satisfy your curiosity, Mr. von Wollner, and that you succeed in finding what you're looking for.
Oh, and so do I.
And now, what if you told me who you really are working for, instead of keeping up this pretense?
Ooh.
I beg your pardon?
We both know what you're looking for, von Wollner. You're the one who von Borchardt was planning to sell it to.
For centuries, all those who have come into contact with the Al-Azif have bitterly regretted it, Monsieur de Richet. You are playing a dangerous game.
A dangerous game!
Please know that I am working for someone who does not appreciate anyone poking around in his business.
Let me guess.
Ooh.
Lord Mortimer.
Oh, you are way off the mark.
I don't know.
No,
There's
I think
nothing
they
more for
mentioned
us to
Prussians,
say.
remember?
Goodbye.
So, totally out there theory.
He's a time traveler.
He's time travel, but he uses occultism to be able to travel through time. And he was able to be like Napoleon and like all these other people who aren't quite like, there's some people who are important, there's some people who are going to be important.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to successfully always guess which like deeds and shit were going to be good. And he also has some paintings that some people have pointed out like couldn't have even existed yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like we're still like period appropriate. So some people would be like, this is weird, but like, you know how in Captain America they like played him the baseball game from the wrong time period?
No.
Oh. He like wakes up and he's like, where the fuck am I? And they're like, it's the baseball game. He's like, from 3 years ago, and he busts through. Like, so like he has everything decorated but slightly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, because all time, he's a time lord. No.
Man, that would be like, that would be very, you know, it would be interesting if it takes that direction, because so far I feel like they're really putting together like a game of like political intrigue. It would be kind of interesting to see.
I don't expect it to come true.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, like, it would be interesting, because I do feel like with what they're setting up, there are kind of like a couple different directions they can take. Mm-hmm. They can either go like, no, this is semi-realistic, like political intrigue, like these are things that like quote unquote could have happened, mm-hmm. or they could really like lean into the like occultism, like he's having visions, mm-hmm. like Elizabeth.
I like how you mixed her up with another magical blonde.
I mean, there's only like 2 women's names that I know. I just picked one out of a hat. There's like Sarah and Elizabeth and Emily, and that's it. So, but anyways,
I meant from Dragon Age.
There's a Sarah?
Sarah from Dragon Age?
Oh.
Lesbian elf?
Yeah. But his mom's name is Sarah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You ready?
So, yeah.
Wait, no, finish what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that is definitely like the way that they're setting things up right now. They definitely could go that route You know, like they're putting enough like sprinkles out there where like I wouldn't be surprised to see it go in either of those two directions.
Maybe it changes depending on how you play.
Yeah, because if you're like an occultism expert, maybe like you really lean into like the magical side of it, you know?
Maybe there's like multiple dimensions to it. Like if you're only thinking about the political things, you only find out about the political things. If you only think about the occult things, you only find out about the occult things. You know?
I did hear some people talking about this game, and like there are like entire branches of the storyline that you can completely miss out on by different decisions that you make. Like, you know how in like some games, some choice-based games, even if you like make a decision, you still end up basically in the same place. This one, apparently, like based on some other people that have talked to me about it, like you can like end up in like completely different branches. That's what I've heard.
What I wonder is like, what if like you uncover the political thing, like, and then you're like, you did all these things, but they never even touch on why he has all like the same name through history and like weird shit. Mm-hmm. But then if you go into the occult version, you go, you've been doing this by using weird magic, and they don't even touch the political.
Yeah,
things.
that's totally possible.
But like both are
Mr.
still
Bonaparte,
happening.
Mm-hmm.
May I speak with you a moment?
Mais oui.
Mais oui!
Does expression go beyond the nightmare mean anything to you at all?
Well, metaphorically, yes. It sums up the career of a soldier quite well. I doubt that is what you want to hear, though.
Indeed. That's surely not what I'm looking for.
Well, monsieur, if you are looking for a phrase book, Lord Mortimer must surely have one, given the number of books he has. You ought to check in the library of the tower. You never know.
What do you think of Duke Godoy?
Well, I'd rather not express any opinion of him.
Why is that?
His reputation is enough for me.
Meaning?
This gentleman enjoys people talking about him for too many reasons. His undeserved titles, more than 10 in just 4 years, and each one more prestigious than the one before.
You don't think he deserves them?
If I had seen him on the battlefield, there might be some doubt. But that is not the case. The Queen would rather not risk losing him, so she consoles him with awards and titles.
So you don't have a very positive opinion?
His coveting French Catalonia does not encourage me to have one.
I understand your point of view.
Which queen is he talking about?
I don't know.
Because it can't be the Queen of France. She's just...
No, oh no, they're talking about the Queen. They must be talking about the Queen of Spain, because Godoy is from Spain.
Oh, okay. Queen of Spain. Oh, yeah, because at that time, the monarch was a woman, I think. I think that's correct.
I can find out pretty easily, actually.
Would you have any more information about the conference Lord Mortimer spoke of?
Nothing at all. Mortimer is very committed to secrecy when it comes to his conferences. But given the presence of Monsieur Peru and ourselves, I think it must concern France to some extent. Otherwise, I doubt he would have invited 3 Frenchmen to his table, huh?
Well, I'll be leaving you now. Shall we meet up again later?
Wait, monsieur. Any news of your mother?
Unfortunately not, no.
I hope to speak with her about my deal before I leave. Let me know if you find her. À plus tard, monsieur.
À plus tard means I'll see you later.
Oh, okay.
List of state leaders in 1973. Europe. Where's Spain?
Find more.
Actually,
clues about
so
your
well, I
mother's
mean,
stuff.
they could still have a queen. She just might have not been like the ruler in charge, but it was Charles IV was the king of Spain.
Oh, then never mind. I was wrong. No, because they would call him the king consort if he was not in charge. So if he was the king, then he was the king.
Well, no, but he was mentioning the queen. I kind of just assumed that.
Sometimes, like, queen can just like still have political power, just not as much as their husband.
With 5 circles
Yeah.
on his chest.
Oh, these are like stash
retrieved
boxes.
everything.